All right, B-listers, you know the drill.
This is your official spoiler alert for the episode.
If you don't want any spoilers, stop the episode now.
And if you don't care about spoilers, hold on to your seats because this episode starts
now. Hello, fellow B-listers.
Hi, welcome to the bcriticspodcast. We're your hosts, Liz and Court.
And our guest critic for this episode is David. Hi, David.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, David.
Howdy.
So David is my cousin. He's also our bestie. We love David. He's a fellow Twilight enthusiast, so be ready for some very interesting information out of him. But before I say any more, David, do you want to introduce the movie for today?
Sure. We're going to be doing Breaking Dawn Part 2, which is one of the coolest ones, but I would say not the coolest.
Interesting.
What would you say is the coolest?
Sorry, that was Edward.
Wait. You need to tell the people what you meant by that.
Okay, so you might hear some dogs barking in the background, and it's probably because someone is walking on what they consider their street in front of my house right now. I have two Great Danes, and their names are Edward and Bella. So
Love it.
I guess you could say that I'm a fan.
Just a little bit. How old are they?
Bella is 7 and Edward is 2 and annoying. But mostly just 2.
So we have proof that you have maintained your Twilight enthusiasm. Is that the right way to say that? For at least 7 years, or at least I guess through Edward being born and named.
Yes, a minimum of 7 years.
In all likelihood, it's been 10 plus years.
Oh, yeah.
These movies have been out for a long time.
The books have been out for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, Closeted David used to read these books when his friends weren't around in high school. And then when I got caught, would be like, it's super cool fight scenes with the vampires, bro.
That's what we're reading it for.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so for those of you dweebs who haven't seen this movie, Breaking Dawn Part 2 is the final installment of the Twilight Saga. In this movie, the series comes to a close. So Bella becomes a vampire. The Cullens team up with the wolves to go up against the Volturi. And then everyone is trying to protect Renesmee, who is Bella and Edward's weird half-immortal child. In the end, Edward and Bella's love wins out, along with the ones they love, as they all head into their forever.
I need more.
This movie came out in 2012, which is amazing because all these movies came out pretty much every year. I think Twilight came out in 2008.
They recorded them. They filmed them consecutively too.
Yeah, which was super smart. Because of the way
get it while you can.
Because of the way that Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson's little relationship worked out. I think they broke up in 2013. So they before things got awkward, they really sold this love story to the public.
We got plenty of sex scenes in this movie, that's for sure. We're going to talk about them.
Very PG scenes.
Their on-screen chemistry, so it would have been all messed up if they had broken up. It was directed by Bill Condon.
Do we know anything about him?
I know nothing
he did
about
Beauty
him.
and the Beast, the live-action Beauty and the Beast. I actually looked that up yesterday to have a random fact in my pocket. Throw it out there. Because
That's
I
a
was
good
like,
random fact.
yeah, I was wondering, I was like, you don't really see a lot of mainstream movies that are filmed the same, like with the same like taste that Twilight was filmed in. And
Mhm.
you have a lot of the same storylines, but not filmed the same way. So I was like, what did this guy do? And then I saw Beauty and the Beast, and I was like, that seems right.
Yep.
Yeah, that does make sense to me, actually.
Yeah.
And then this movie is known for its action scenes and then its screenplay and original score. But really, I think it's just like known as the last movie of the Twilight series.
The Twilight movie, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, are y'all ready to get into it? We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, let's do this.
So I think before we really get started, David, we need to know.
Okay.
Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? And I think
we
have
know
a
the
feeling
answer.
I know.
I bought dogs and did not name them after the dogs. So I'm definitely Team Edward.
Ooh, I'm also Team
Yes.
Edward. So I'm
I'm Team
this.
Jacob, so.
Oh my God. Elizabeth.
How could
no.
you?
Because he's so stereotypically hot, is that like,
yes. What other reason? He's also just like a great person, I think.
I mean, okay, if that's what you're looking for in someone.
But
Did
also
you see that
Taylor Lautner, I mean, come on.
Did you see that he posted a TikTok about like the new Dear John? Like,
yes.
Didn't Taylor Swift just release her like new Taylor's version of that
coming
album?
out on July 7th, actually.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, I saw his TikTok.
Her re-record of
Speak
him?
Now. No. So
okay,
Speak
he's
Now.
The only one.
Speak Now was the era of like John Mayer and Taylor Lautner. But Taylor Lautner has like a good song. He has like a sweet song on her album. But then John Mayer has all the bad ones. And Dear John specifically is like very much about John Mayer. And so Taylor Lautner posted a TikTok that was like, pray for John kind of thing.
The TikTok was so weird.
The Swifties are coming back. You think it was bad the first time? Yeah.
Like putting his prayer hands together and just like going in like an Om position and nothing else. And I was like, what is going on? It had like 4.5 million views. And I was like, Lord.
I think that anything Taylor Lautner does is going to get a lot of views just because like the gays are going to carry those views for him. All right. Like I know my people.
So you're going against the grain here, being an Edward fan.
I am. Yeah, it's what I do. It's what I do. Edward was just he was cooler and like I don't know.
I agree.
Taylor was
way hotter,
just,
in my opinion.
Yeah, like Taylor has an unobtainable affect to him, whereas
Edward's a vampire.
Yeah, but I'm talking on a hotness scale. Like you could find a Robert Pattinson out there. Taylor, you're gonna find someone that's shoving a meat patty in their mouth every 30 minutes for protein.
I feel like Taylor is objectively hot. Like you can't look at him and be like, oh, he's not attractive. Like he's objectively attractive.
He's got a nice
Robert
face.
Pattinson like has something cool about him. Like something intriguing.
Yeah. Except for that one movie, viral picture that went around with him where he was like he looked like a random guy in someone's kitchen. I'll find it and send it to you. He looked like the guy who like didn't go to college but lived by college to sell people weed. Like, that's what he looked like.
Not a good look. Maybe that was in his era after him and Kristen Stewart broke up in like 2013.
Yeah.
He was devastated. Guy. Kristen Stewart's everything.
Okay. Don't worry. So next, let's talk about the meaning of the title, Breaking Dawn. We've been doing this for every one of these episodes. And so, Liz, I don't know if you want to talk about like the symbolism. David, do you have any thoughts too on what you think it means?
I want to hear other people's first before I sound stupid.
Okay,
that's how I am too.
This is not my opinion. This is what I looked up on the internet. because, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. So Breaking Dawn refers to the light at the end of what has been 3 novels worth of darkness for Bella and Edward. So they're kind of like emerging out of this like depressive state. They've broken up. Both of them almost died. Bella's having to like let go of people in her life. Edward's struggling with the whole idea of Bella not being pure when she becomes a vampire, like all these things. And so this is them like emerging out of that and like coming into themselves. And yeah, it also is like the end of the Edward Bella Jacob love triangle, as we'll talk about here in a minute. It's the beginning of Bella and Edward's life together with their child Renesmee. And then the defeat, which is not like a literal defeat, but it's kind of like an emotional and psychological defeat of Aro, Marcus, and the Volturi, marks like a new day, not only for the main characters, but for everyone in the Twilight universe. So that's kind of what Breaking Dawn is signifying in the Twilight Saga. It's like the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning, or whatever it is. That whole
Breaking
thing.
into a new chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that that's what it was, because that's what I thought.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
That's what like that's where my head was. I was like, oh, it's the light at the end of a tunnel.
Yeah.
That's exactly the words that were in you took them right out of my mouth.
For it.
Stephanie Myers was quite literal with her naming of these books. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Like I said earlier, I am a straightforward. Don't expect me to find any gray zone area. Black and white. So
yeah.
Well, this movie is pretty black and white. There's not a lot that's like left up to interpretation, I feel like. So
yeah, there's no like, is this a good person or a bad person in Twilight? Is like, you're bad.
Very thick line.
Yeah.
thick line. Okay, so what did we think about like the music in this one? Because I feel like all these movies are known for having pretty good soundtracks, and this one has like elements of all the movies in it.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that, and I like the 1,000 Years being in there. That's one of my favorite songs. So I think that the soundtrack for this was actually really good, and yeah, I just really liked it.
Yeah, I immediately noticed like, so at the beginning when the whole thing opens up and you get the like intro credits, which that's the first time in the Twilight Saga we see the intro credits. So immediately I was like, oh, this is different. And then you like hear Bella's lullaby, but it's not just Bella's lullaby. It's like more than that. And you can tell that they've kind of like built on it. And then you get to the like wedding scene. Yeah. And then you get to like, they start bringing in more of the songs that went throughout like the whole saga. So you like hear the very first song from Twilight. You hear like from the wedding. You hear all the songs come back throughout the movie, which just like, it's just like nostalgia throughout the whole thing. They did a really good job with that.
I agree. Yeah, they did have all of the songs from all of the movies, or not all of the songs, but most of the songs came from other movies. Yeah, the ones that I deemed important. Yeah. I really did like the opening song though, as it was coming through. Yeah, it was nice.
And all of the like symbolism going on in the opening credits was really cool. How everything was like freezing over. It was going from red to white. It was like everything was so symbolic of like, we know Bella's about to wake up because we saw at the end of part 1 that her eyes opened. So we know it's coming. We know she's made the change. She survived through it. So like this is like leading up to that. And you're like, oh my gosh, like just show us already.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you're leaving the black and white, talking about symbols. We already talked.
I'm sorry. I love this movie. I got very excited.
I could tell from the hand gestures.
Ooh, I like your nails. So we love the music. I agree. I felt the nostalgia like big time. What about like all the special effects? I feel like there's a ton in this movie because you know, we have Bella becoming a vampire, so we've got all of that, and then like all the vampire fighting. So there's just like so much that they have to use CGI for.
There's only one thing in this movie that I did not like the CGI.
Oh, I think
And
I
it
know
was
exactly
Renesmee.
where
Oh
we're
my
Yeah, it's
going.
gosh.
bad.
I cannot stand it. Like, I was like, could we not find a baby that, like, and then transition into a toddler? I mean, all babies look the same, basically. So
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, it doesn't look like this one. Just get a
Yeah.
baby. Just don't
Yeah.
computerize a face. It was
Yeah, it's bad.
2010 when they filmed it. Like, technology was far enough along for them to not have to do it that poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was atrocious. That baby looked so fake. So fake. And
You
I
give it
feel
a
like
horrible name and a terrible
I know.
face.
I know they already
What's-
have like a whole mountain to climb up against, and they just like made it worse.
So what's really wild is that they used 10 actresses to play Renesmee and still made it look like that.
crazy.
Yeah,
Like
that
they
is
pretty much took the people and like made them CGI. Like there was people in the scenes and they were still CGIing them.
that is the classic, like, just like creating a problem that doesn't exist.
Yeah, just let it look a little different. It's
Yeah,
okay. She's growing fast.
Yeah, you
Like-
paid 10 people. You could have paid 3 people.
They didn't.
Nobody
have
would have
to do that.
noticed.
They didn't
Yeah.
have to do that. So in the book, and I'm assuming y'all both read the book.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Renesmee
Multiple times.
Renesmee grows to the age of like she looks like a 2-year-old. Like that's how big
Mhm.
she gets. And in
Yep.
this movie, she looks like she's 10 years old. Because Mackenzie Foy, who I think is a great actress, like she looks the part really well. But like
Mhm.
why did they pick somebody who's so old? Because they didn't have to choose 10 actresses to play her. They could have just picked a 2-year-old.
I think that they were really trying to elaborate's not the right word. Exaggerate. They're trying to
Her growth.
exaggerate the fact that she's growing really fast. And
Yeah.
that doesn't come across going from baby to slightly bigger baby, you know? So I think that they
Yeah.
were just trying to show it like on screen better
Yeah.
because
They could have made her like
it wouldn't have
5.
come
They didn't
across
have
the
to
right
make her
way.
that
Also,
old.
her like if you think about it, like Renesmee's mind, like how is she able to understand all these things as a 2-year-old? Like
Yeah.
making her older makes it make sense. I think that was a gap for Stephanie Myers, and I think she
Yeah.
helped them fix it in the movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know it was terrible. I do have another little random fact though.
Okay.
So Robert Pattinson loved Betty White, and when he
Uh-huh.
found out they were going to do so much CGI for the baby, he wanted Betty White to be the voice of his daughter.
Was
An
Random
old
little-
lady?
An old lady. But Betty White, I mean, give her some credit. She said she would have done it.
There's not that many speaking parts, so maybe it would have worked, but
Yeah.
I feel like Robert Pattinson is a really
I think he's
strange
weird.
human.
Yeah.
Like I think when you see him in
No.
interviews, he is weird. That is just like such a strange thing to say. Like
Robert, if you're listening to this, I supported you the whole time.
I mean, I supported you too. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a little weird. Like I'm weird, but
You didn't say
you're
a
not that
little.
weird.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, wanting Betty White. I feel like that's like desiring Benjamin Button lifestyle. Like, what in the world are you like looking for with that? I don't know.
I don't know, but when I remembered that, I instead of like the opening credit score, they could have gone with Golden Girls.
Oh.
Just like,
Wait, he
what?
said that?
No, me.
No, you're
Like,
saying that
like,
because
no,
Betty
yeah,
White.
that's-
Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah.
That'd been such a different movie. You know what that's giving me is like Pride and Prejudice and zombies. Have you ever
Yeah.
read that or seen the movie?
No.
Like,
No.
okay. So Pride and Prejudice is like a period piece. And I
Yeah.
feel like there's elements of that because like Bella's always reading like Wuthering Heights or whatever. And There's a version of Pride and Prejudice where somebody took like the original work and wrote in, like they didn't change anything. They just like took out some lines but inserted like a
Zombies.
zombie story. So if you read it, it feels like you're reading the original book but also reading a zombie book like at the same time. And it's amazing.
Solid
And I
Golden
feel like
Girls Twilight mashup.
Yeah.
I know. They could have done that. What
They
kind
could
of
have made it
fanfics
work.
are we reading? We should be reading the Golden Girls version. Okay, moving on.
La, la, la.
So the movie opens up pretty much where part one ended, but with Bella opening her eyes and Bella becoming a vampire. And there's like that airy song that's playing, and she's like looking around and zooming in on things, and we get to see her as a vampire for the first time.
She looks the same.
Mm-hmm. Looks the exact same.
They might have highlighted her hair.
Her eyes. Yeah, yeah.
They took the contacts out.
She's got
like,
red eyes.
Red eyes. She's wearing like a blue dress. She's barefoot. She's strong.
Did you notice
now.
that the rest of the Cullen women were also in blue dresses?
No.
So Bella's like officially a Cullen. She matches with them and everything.
Wow, what good
Way to go,
costuming.
Alice.
We know Alice is behind all this. Come on.
Yeah. So then she's a vampire. And
Yep.
I feel like it's weird. Her being a vampire is weird. It was weird in the book too, because she's like strong now and like fast and
she's a newborn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a controversial take on this, and I think it might be because I might be a little biased because I don't really like Kristen. So I know.
I think a lot of people don't like her.
Yeah. But I think that this would have been an excellent time for a recast. And like get someone that semi looked like her.
But better.
Yes. Like
the Gucci version of
the way that
Kristen
she does.
Stewart.
Yes, like because she in the book she's supposed to have like so much confidence and so much strength, and I like took notes when I watched this again last night, and I wrote down that like as a vampire she still comes across like she did in the first three, where she's just kind of meek,
awkward and
like not confident, and they let her like slouch her shoulders forward in the movie a lot and like walk around without confidence. And that's the opposite of what she's got all of this power now, and like especially before all of the drama unfolds, and she's still just like human-y and Kristen Stewart-y.
Yeah.
How
even
insane
her
would that have been if they recasted her? Like that would have
it would have been
wild.
okay.
If she
I
just
don't think
opened her
people
eyes
would've,
and she was a different person.
I think that I don't think that anyone would. I think there probably would have been some people who like revolted, but I think that for the
it would have made
part,
sense what they were
yes,
doing.
Yeah, I think that people would have been like, "No, this is good." Like, especially if they got like, I don't know. I mean, I could see an Emma Watson pulling that off, even like. Hermione coming out there, confident, smart, ready to go.
So actually, it's funny that you say that, because there were a number of actresses that were considered to play Bella, and Jennifer Lawrence was one of them. And I think she would have been magnificent.
No.
I think she would have been fantastic.
No, she's too tall to be Bella.
They can make her look small. They make Tom Cruise look tall in everything that he's in.
Taylor Lautner would have looked small next to Jennifer Lawrence. It would have been like the same as the Hunger Games with PETA situation.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that PETA looked small in the Hunger Games, honestly.
Now that you bring it up, yeah. Yeah, he does look small. But
he's
her
supposed
attitude
to be huge,
is what I'm looking for in a Bella vampire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's true. She does have the right attitude.
And she can play awkward, meek, skinny girl too. So
we should poll the people, like who they think would be a better Bella vampire cast.
Now that the movies are already done, you can't go back and fix it.
They'll remake them at some point.
These. Yeah,
for sure. Give it 10 years.
Stephanie
HBO will
Meyer
do a
said
series.
recently that she would not put it past them to have another, like, more Twilight movies. Because especially the way that they left off this movie,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, can you
could
say
easily pick
series?
up.
Yes. Like, I could see Netflix buying this immediately and
Yes.
being like,
Yes.
oh, we need some more subscribers. Let's get this going.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
Renesmee
I mean,
and
I believe
Jacob
it.
follow up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
Well,
The perfect couple?
they talked about doing the movie. There's a book, I haven't read it, but it's
Midnight
from
Sun.
Midnight Sun. I own the book. It's in my living room right now, and I haven't read it.
I've read it.
But they were gonna do
Recommend.
a movie about it through Edward's experience, but I guess they didn't find it financially worth it.
I wonder
so
if Robert
wild.
Pattinson wasn't interested. Maybe that's why.
No, I think he's interested. Every single person on the cast was like, yeah, I'd do another movie.
Okay.
But what's interesting, it's interesting you say that they may not have found it financially, like, plausible, whatever the word is.
Whichever word.
And
whichever you like.
Because this movie, when it came out in 2012, became like the 4th highest grossing movie ever in 2012 when it came out. It grossed almost $1 billion, which is just wild. And they had a pretty high budget for this movie too. I think it was like $130 million or something. But like, it like tenfolded itself when it came out. And what's crazy is all the other movies had come out before this one, and most of them were not fantastic. Like, we love them because we're Twilight fans, but like, anyone who's not a Twilight fan would be like, why would you want to see that? And it still made millions and millions and millions of dollars, which is crazy.
Yeah, I thought that they weren't going to do the second one because the first one didn't really like hit it off too well.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't,
but it was
well
good,
received.
and I think people liked it. So
those Twihards coming in hot. I think
don't underestimate us.
I think people were just like so about this fandom, like really culty in a way. I mean, people going to the premieres, like I'm sure dressing up as vampires, and whew, it was a time.
The Team Edward versus Team Jacob thing was big. Like, there was so much merchandise out there that was Team Edward, Team Jacob stuff.
What did you have any merchandise, Team Edward?
No, I was in the closet.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
I don't think I had any, so
I definitely didn't have any. I was like very shy about the fact that I'd read each of these books 40 times. No one was about to know that.
Everyone in my life knew that.
I mean, of course not. Now nobody cares, but I was really strange reading these over and over and over again. I probably could have like recited them. It was insane.
I'm that way with Harry Potter as well. Like,
me also.
I can still like if I'm having some like any kind of negativity in my life, I'll just grab a Harry Potter book and be like, let me just get lost in this for a day or two. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I love that energy. That is my energy. Did you see they're coming out with an HBO series?
I did see that. I saw that on your guys' Instagram.
I don't like that they're not casting the original cast in it. I don't like that at all.
They cannot. They're too
old
now.
I don't
you have to have 11-year-olds.
Shave the boys. It'll be fine.
Daniel Radcliffe looks like an old man. Old man.
They are so perfect. How can you see anyone else?
I don't
we need
think
a new
that
cast.
or we can't do a Harry Potter podcast on the Twilight podcast, but I don't think they could have found a better Harry Potter that looked exactly like the guy on the cover. And Robert Pattinson did get his start in Harry Potter, so it was a great transition.
Great connection.
I brought it back,
Goblet
guys.
of Fire is one of the best movies as well. So
it is the best movie.
Okay, we'll save the ratings of the Harry Potter movies for when we do that series one day. Let's swerve it back to Twilight and talk about Jacob imprinting on Renesmee.
Wait. We missed like a whole. There's like a whole section we missed. So
what did we miss?
Okay,
Oh,
when
yes.
Bella goes
Okay, we forgot to
hunting
talk
for the
about
first
Bella as a
time.
vampire. We got so Courtney's like, forget that. Let's talk about imprinting. Oh, yeah, her hunting against the mountain lion. Oh, my God.
Speaking of bad CGI.
All of that is bad. All the running, bad. Her jumping on the wall or the mountain lion, bad.
She did.
Her
She did
as a vampire.
Her dress made it, except for one rip up like her leg after
it's supposed to rip off completely.
Yeah, it's supposed to rip off completely.
Yeah, I know
And
we
Edward's
gotta
supposed
keep
to
it
give
like
her
PG for the kids, but I mean, like, not even a scratch like in the shoulder or something. She just made it. Just okay. It was a declawed mountain lion.
There's no way this is PG movie. The sex scenes in this movie are way
PG-13.
not PG. Yes.
Okay.
And
when we get to the sex scenes, I have something to say, but I want to talk about Edward. I found it very creepy how into Bella hunting Edward was. I found it very creepy. It was unsettling.
I noticed it last night. It was
he
for
was
the
like
first
into
time.
it.
He was like, "Oh yeah, you need to hunt."
Like, damn,
okay.
chill.
All right.
It's weird seeing him too because we've seen him for so long, like being against Bella turning into a vampire, and then like when she does, he's like
in
okay,
La La
I'm
Land.
into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a secret kink.
Also, when she like goes in to see the family for the first time, and everyone's like, "You look great, Bella," and it's like, we're only focused on her looks. This woman just survived, and no one's like, "Welcome home." Everyone's like, "You look
so
great."
Glad you're like alive.
Glad you lived.
Yeah.
Glad you lived.
What?
Yeah, and no one even talks about how Jacob just gave up on CPR. By the way, he was like,
he did like 3 pumps and was like, "That's fine."
He's like, all right, like I'm gonna go see this. I'm gonna go kill this kid.
I'm gonna go be an asshole to Edward for no reason.
Yeah, you live with it.
Also,
that was in the other one. I'm sorry, that was in the first part.
Bella climbing up the side of the cliff. Why does that climber man have to be like a mile up the mountain? Like, why can't he just be like a normal distance up?
Well, I think the whole point there is like he's probably like a really experienced climber and he's like out climbing for fun. And Edward was, because Edward even says like I wasn't expecting there to be people this far away.
We got like a little free solo documentary, like mid Twilight movie.
It's fine. It was a good plot point.
I think that they were trying to emphasize her power.
Yeah.
Because like how fast she could get up that high and things like that. I think that's what, and then jumping down from that high too. So he was like, let's just go down. And she was like, oh, woo.
She does really capture the like manic part where she's like, I have to get out of here. I'm like, oh damn, like if I saw you in public, we would not be friends.
You don't think so?
No.
You'd be lunch girly.
Yeah, she that's one of the times where like during that part she actually does some pretty like decent acting as far as like the control aspect of it. Like that's nice. So
all right, now we can talk about imprinting.
Kudos.
Okay.
Go ahead, Court.
Jacob is on Renesmee, and everything has changed now. Jacob
That's
is
pretty
like,
controversial, honestly.
It's so fucking weird. He's like, y'all are so cute together. And I'm like,
and she's like
that was like cringy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
And then when Bella was like yelled at him in her weird deep throaty yelling, like, you imprinted on my daughter.
Deep throaty yelling.
Why can't she get a high pitched scream? Like, surely somebody can coach her into doing that.
Surely she can.
It's not
I don't think she can.
Like,
she didn't do it the entire series.
Oh, dude, she's just so terrible. But she did this. Like, it was just like I didn't believe that she was upset at all. And then she goes into like what she was the most upset about was the dumbest line of this movie. Where you nicknamed my daughter out of the Loch Ness Monster?
It was such a bigger deal in the book than they made
yes.
it in the movie.
And like I found it dumb in the book too. I specifically when I read that in the book, I was like, that's stupid. Like this is filler.
I think it's supposed to be like a spot of comedic relief because that is so controversial because at this point Jacob is 18 and he's fully grown and he has now imprinted on a baby.
Yeah.
Which
weird.
I don't know about you guys. That's kind of strange. And it's like slightly implied that he's going to like grow and evolve with her. So right now he's a caretaker, but like, I don't know, maybe one day they'll be married. And like, that's kind of strange.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to like pull some comedy into it wherever they could because they didn't want people to focus on the fact that there's a little bit of grooming going on here. Like,
yeah.
Grooming before grooming was a term.
I know. Yeah. This is where it came from, actually.
And you're on his team.
No, I can't help myself.
Liz, team groomer.
Oh no, don't get that started.
Start the hashtag.
So, how do we feel about the name?
Renesmee?
Awful.
Yes.
So, okay, for context, Hayden has not read the books or seen the movies.
Okay.
And so he still has not seen them. I think he
choices.
saw like the first Twilight movie, but that was it.
Okay.
And so I was like, he like saw the tail end of Breaking Dawn Part 2 yesterday. Like as I was watching it, he came in at the very end and like watched like probably the last 15 minutes. And so then had a bunch of questions, obviously. And I was like, well, this person, and then Renesmee. And he was like, whoa, Renesmee? And I was like, yeah, it's like a mixture between the two moms. And he's like, Bella has two moms? And I was like, no. Bella's mom and Edward's mom. And he was just like, they couldn't have picked a better name. And I was like, I agree. We didn't choose Renesmee's name. Yeah. But it is weird. It's bad. Everybody thinks it's bad.
Oh my God.
Horrible.
So, Bella and Edward had babies, my dogs, okay? Obviously, they had a baby in the movie, but my dogs had babies because I was irresponsible and didn't get them fixed. And people kept trying to get me to name one of these puppies Renesmee. I was like, this dog does not deserve this. I'm already going to pawn it off on some stranger that I know nothing about, probably. Like, this, like, doesn't need to be an orphan and have a terrible name.
Amazing. That name is horrible. I feel like
it's bad.
When I read that in the book, I lost so much respect for Stephenie Meyer as a person and a writer.
Just a lack of creativity on the...
An EJ?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was better, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just no creativity in that whatsoever.
I feel like she kind of like gave up and sped through the end, probably.
And how could you, like, you're going to name it Edward Jacob and not Charlie? After everything.
Charlie and Carlisle? Carlisle? Come on.
Yeah. It's a perfect name waiting for you.
She put Charlie through so much grief.
I know, poor Charlie. He's the hero of this entire saga. We love him.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney's low-key into Charlie.
Oh,
he's hot.
Tell me about your relationship with your father.
Okay, we're not getting into that. He listens to this podcast. Okay, so speaking of Charlie, Jacob shows Charlie that he's a wolf.
Casually.
Yeah.
I love the stripping.
Strip down him.
So funny.
He just like rips the shirt off and Charlie's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else is like, oh, they closed my eyes. It's terrible.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're all trying to look around the lens that it gives us.
Show us.
Pan down.
He does get bigger in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, he looks good. He looks good.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's hot.
Have you seen him now?
No.
He's very small.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel
like how sexualized that he became after the Twilight series.
I don't care.
Okay.
Welcome to the real world, Taylor Lautner.
I do think that Robert Pattinson, like, today looks a lot better than Taylor Lautner. Like, Rob continued to glow up and like get really big movies, and Taylor Lautner is just kind of chilling, making TikToks of.
He has a podcast. He and his wife.
I'm sure he's doing
the
just
Taylors.
fine.
Taylor has
sure
a
they're doing
wife.
fine.
Named
That's
Taylor.
why we're done with him.
Can he only date people named Taylor?
Narcissist.
We are not Team Jacob on this episode. Okay, so great scene. Charlie's in the know. He comes and sees Bella. That whole scene is like
casually skipped over the first sex scene of the movie.
Oh fuck yeah!
Oh,
I think that
they have their cottage and the bed. And he's like, it's not for sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, duh, you idiot.
Yeah.
I can't. Okay, I have 2 comments about the sex scene. So, number 1, Robert Pattinson looks like a god. There's like one moment where they like pan to him like laying there, and I'm like, holy fuck. And then the other comment is that the whole thing is just like horrible. It doesn't look like sex at all.
No,
like there's this
rolling
scene
around
at the end where it kind of looks
they're
like
wrestling.
Yeah. And then like where they're kind of like standing up, like it kind of looks like that scene where you know in Harry Potter when they destroy the locket and it opens up and it's like Harry and Hermione like doing a thing, and it kind of looks like that, like purposefully fake. And I'm just like,
when
why?
Ron destroys it because that's his worst fear.
Yes. Oh my god, we need to do Harry Potter.
We will.
But anyway, it reminded me of that in that moment, and I was like, I feel like I shouldn't have been reminded of that during this intimate sex scene between Bella and Edward.
Yeah.
So my facts about the sex scenes. It's this movie and the first movie, but they had to remove a lot from the sex scenes to keep it PG-13. Like they were not allowed to show Robert Pattinson's butt. They weren't allowed to show thrusting of any kind. They weren't like, there was very few things that they were allowed to do with the sex scenes, which is why they are so disappointing, because they were trying to keep it PG-13.
Yeah, that's the most
TV
sexist part of Hollywood, because the
no male booty.
The Titanic is PG-13.
Yeah.
And you see a whole boob.
Not only boob, the whole woman is naked.
Yeah. And like, but all like the Harvey Weinsteins of the world are like, we don't need to see any dude butt. Like, no.
Dude butt. Dude butt is too much. Okay.
Okay, but I feel like TV shows nowadays like show more sex scenes.
But this was 2012, and this is a young adult movie. But originally, like the scene, they had to cut down a lot of those scenes because I think they originally wanted to capture a lot more of that, because that's such a huge part of the book is them like coming into that, and they wanted to show more of it. But the first time it went to the raters, it got a rating of R, and so they're like, well, like what do we have to cut out to get it at PG-13? And this is what we're left with.
No, all of us fans had turned 18 at this point. We could have gone to the rated R movie.
True. And then at the end, she was like, you were holding out on me. It's like, no shit, girly. You were like breakable.
I'm a god.
I do as I please.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
gracious.
it was the sex scenes were not sexy. They were,
looked like this sounds terrible, but it's like children, like what children think it is.
Yeah, well,
like
there probably were
over romanticized,
but there probably were like
what is it?
Young people watching this
business? She's over romanticized sex. Like, meanwhile, it's just a contractual obligation.
Oh goodness!
Got 7 minutes. Let's go.
Okay. Moving on. So Jacob shows Charlie he's a wolf, and then Bella shows Charlie herself. I feel like that scene is very uneventful.
It was like unnecessary. They could have just said it happened and not shown it, and it would have been the same.
Yeah. Well, I think the best part is like Charlie's the best actor in the room on that. The guy, I don't know his name. I don't know who plays
Billy
Charlie, but
Burke.
he's definitely the best one in the room. And when he says you look like my daughter, but you don't, like that was the best part of that, because it kind of like, it's obvious that something has changed with her physical appearance, but it's not. And that, like, I think that was the main thing. And she didn't eat him, so that's nice. Yeah.
I'm gonna put this out there. I don't think my dad would have accepted me saying like it's on a need to know basis. He'd be like, "Fuck, it is."
Yeah, I know your father, and he would go, well, it's nice that you thought that was going to work. But
He's
I will
just
kill
so quick
everyone
to
and
accept it.
everything that you love until I find out the answers that I need to know.
It's a little dramatic, but maybe true. Okay, so Charlie's in the know. That's good.
Yep, Charlie's
so
in the
Jacob
know.
can
And
stay.
I want to have a moment of silence for Keelan Lutz in this movie.
Why?
Emmett, because he is peak attractiveness in this movie.
Oh, okay.
God. Yeah, Emmett's super
His
hot.
arms were like this big. Like I could have put my head next to it and would have been the same size. And he's just like this hunky man all of a sudden. Like he was just kind of there the whole series. And then all of a sudden you're like, I see the attraction, Rosalie.
I think he was comedy gold in this movie.
Yes.
Honestly.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound weird. I'm going to say it anyway. But he's
okay,
like super hot, but also looks huggable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he's nice.
That's his vibe. He's like a big bear.
Yeah.
Rawr.
That's perfect because that's how they describe him in the book, as like a big bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did get attacked by a bear. That's when Rosalie changed him.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah. So good casting.
I love him.
Yeah.
I like.
He should be a more famous actor than he is.
He makes me like want to be Team Emmett instead of Team Jacob.
That's a little.
Is that a thing?
Dramatic.
Can we change teams up? Does everyone get a team? Because then I would probably be Team Jasper.
I like Jasper as well.
Jasper's super cool. I would have named my dog Jasper, but I felt like Jasper's more of a cat than a dog.
That's fair. A cat, name him Jasper. Like a little orange cat, matches his like hair.
No cat would survive this house.
My cat might. My cat's an orange cat, and he is feisty.
I like that. Yeah, you gotta be. My dogs are cowards, but they would torment a cat. 100%.
Okay, so then we get to the part where Irina sees Renesmee.
What a bitch.
And I know.
She is really bad with her grudges. Like really bad.
Yes.
Oh, she's
girl
that
needs some
one girl
therapy.
that we all know. She's that we all know, that one girl who just can't let it go. Just like...
I feel like vampires.
Nobody here wronged you. Like
for all the powers that they have and their ability to like suss out information, like they get just like the minimal amount of information and make decisions off of it immediately. All of them do it. It's crazy.
Very impulsive. Very
impulsive.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, okay. Oh, you took my t-shirt, I'm gonna kill your whole family. Like that's
actually though, it's like a theme throughout the whole series. And so Irina is dumb and goes to the Volturi, and now we have like shit goes down, and Alice has her vision.
Shit is coming down.
Yeah. She sees that the Volturi is going to come and bring like the whole Volturi army, I guess, and like their witnesses and come after the Cullens. And so begins the Cullens trying to gather a bunch of witnesses to testify that Renesmee is truly a like non-immortal child. She's immortal. Well, she's half and half. Yeah, Irina thinks that she is what they call an immortal child, which is like when vampires were turning all these babies into children or into vampires, which sounds terrifying.
Oh, could you imagine? Like, have you ever seen just
They're
an
bad enough as
uncontrollable toddler?
humans.
Yeah, in
Yes.
real life.
They're awful. Meanwhile, this one can just destroy the whole town.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You think your child temper tantrum's bad? Just you wait.
Yeah. Just take out a whole village.
Go read Twilight.
Beat
I'll
'em
give you some
all
perspective.
for no reason.
Yeah. I feel like she just describes regular toddlers. Like she's just like, yeah, they make you not want to be alive anymore.
No, babies are
but
so
they're
fun.
cute, so it's fine.
They're the most beautiful thing you've ever seen until they destroy everything.
Okay, so now we've got like all the vampires coming. And I like this. I like seeing all the vampires come into town. I don't know. Did y'all have any like favorites of all the many vampires?
Benjamin.
Yeah, Benjamin's the coolest.
The element bender.
Yeah.
And
I
liked what was her name? Like Sienna. The one that can make people see things. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was pretty.
I like the characters that were the
Vladimir
Russian ones.
and
yeah.
Yes.
The guy
Stefan
from
and Vladimir
is one of the
yes.
I think the guy from Shameless played the I think he played Vlad. I'm not sure, but man, they were funny.
Yes.
They were funny the whole time. And they were funny in the
hilarious.
books too. So and that's one of Taylor Lautner's most funny lines too, when he calls them Dracula 1 and 2.
Yes. I liked Garrett, who is Carlisle's friend from the American Revolution. I thought he was funny and cool.
The musician.
He was cool.
Musician.
Yeah, he's like a rock and roll guy.
Oh. I think they just played rock and roll music when they found him. I think his thing is that he's a
he
like
actually
patriot.
ate the guy with the guitar.
Yeah.
I always pictured him as like a musician, and he's out here like getting rid of all the bad musicians.
Oh, okay. A hero, really.
But I could be wrong. Courtney's face says like, "What are you doing?"
I think he's a patriot. I think that's his thing because he's always like, "They're coming," you know, like
the redcoats are coming.
The redcoats are coming. That's a good line. That's a good line.
I like that.
My least favorite was the guy who leaves, Alistair. When he sees like Bella packing the bag,
and he didn't even like ask like, "What are you doing?"
No,
he's just like, "Oh, how great of you to be like on the outs while all these people
Yeah.
are ready to fight for like."
Yeah,
fuck off.
and he's like, she's not leaving, but he leaves. Like,
yeah,
because I looked last night, I was like, is he in this battle scene? And
he like brings
wasn't
reality
in the
back.
That's true.
Yeah, he does bring reality back. We need him because I feel like without his character, like everything's kind of too good to be true.
Yeah. Everybody gets to like, oh, we can do this, and he's the realest in the room.
Like, I don't know about y'all. I'm not about to be a part of that.
There's always so a little about me. I used to be a paramedic, and there's always that one paramedic. So like on critical scenes, people will be like, "Do you think they're gonna make it?" And there's like the positive people that are like, "Yeah, there's a good chance," and then there's me that's just like, "No, no shot."
The percentage is 2, and it's going down rapidly.
Yeah. Every moment that we have left, we should cherish.
Well, the vampires do help Bella discover that she's a shield. Which is cool.
Which was really cool. I liked it. I liked the tie-in to when she was mortal to now. I thought that was the coolest part. It's like she was meant to be a vampire.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Edward just agreed from the other room.
Yes. I did love this part in the book, and I thought they did it pretty well in the movie with like the time that they had. I feel like I imagined it like slightly different in the movie, but I feel like sometimes, or in the book, but I feel like sometimes it's hard to change effects from books to movie effects because you kind of have to add a visual or like a sensory, like a sound component to it that I think makes it feel like unrealistic. Like I think I could have done without like the like sound that went with the shield every time she
Staticky.
used it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it helped you kind of know what was going on. So I get it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that they could have just done the opaqueness.
The bubble
Yeah, like the little
Mhm.
bubble thing. I think that would have
sheen.
been fine. I hated the little dark clouds that came out of what's his
Alec.
name's yeah, Alex's hands. I hated
He was a
that.
weirdo.
What a strange
Goofy
cat,
boy.
man. Yes. Jane's a badass though. She
Yeah,
was
Love
Jane is
cool.
him.
cool.
Dakota Fanning was awesome at that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Jumping
really, really
around a
good.
bit, but so,
She
No, all good.
only
Do it.
has one speaking part and she says one word in the entire movie.
I bet
Pain.
she got paid so much money for that word.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm sure she
god.
did.
Is the word pain?
Yeah, she
Mhm.
says pain.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
that's the last
did
time
well.
she's able to use her mind stuff
Power.
on the Cullens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the
I love
Volturi
that.
has some really cool powers as well. And
Too
we
bad
get to
they're
see that in
assholes.
this movie.
Yeah. What dicks?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about
Not
the
a
fight
fan.
scene in a second. There's one more thing we have to talk about, I think, before we get there, and that's the Jay Jenks character, which
Yep.
is so we didn't really touch on it, but when the vampires start to come, Alice and Jasper just like up and leave. And they leave a note with Samueli, and Sam gives it to Bella, or the Cullens. And it's a note saying, like, hey, we're leaving. But the Volturi is going to come when the snow sticks on the ground. And then the note was on a torn out page from The Merchant of Venice, which is one of Bella's books. And so she finds in The Merchant of Venice a contact, Jay Jenks, for her to reach out to. And she goes to Seattle and meets him. And he has like passports and stuff for Jacob and Renesmee, like fakes made.
That was one of the biggest differences from the book that I noticed when watching the movie. The way that entire thing played out is completely different, and I know they did it to condense the timeline, but like
I hated it.
I hated it too.
It took all the power away from what she was doing.
Mm-hmm. And
Because
again, she had no confidence.
Yeah.
She was in there slouched at a table, and like she
Yeah.
wasn't putting things together in her head the way that she
Mhm.
was in the book, and she wasn't intimidating, and
Yeah.
the guy was not the way that he was described in the book. Like he should have been a little more on edge and not so confident
Yes.
himself. He like
Mhm.
outshadowed her in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Dislike.
And like in the book, Bella does all the arranging.
Mm-hmm.
And she like takes it upon herself to do that, knowing that's what Alice was leaving her information for. But like
Yeah.
the fact that like Jasper did it for her, and
I thought that was
like
weird.
she meets the guy in public, where like in the book it's like a very intimate scene where it's just the two of them, and she's like recalling how uncomfortable he looks, and
she noted it. Like they noted that it was in public this go
yeah,
around. Like
for what
why?
reason?
Like I don't
Well,
know.
and like I think it takes away from Bella's character, honestly, that they made
Yeah.
it so that Jasper made that decision for them. Like I
Mhm.
feel like it made Bella seem like a strong, selfless character who loved her daughter, and like then
Mhm.
just making it seem like, oh, she was just going to run away the whole time. Like, but I
Yeah,
guess maybe
and
too they're making it seem like, oh, this is when Bella realizes like they might not win, I guess. But
It's just not a good scene.
I didn't
Compared
like
to the
it.
book,
They should have just
that was
left it
one of my
out.
favorite parts in the book is
Yeah.
like when she's getting control,
Mhm.
and
yeah.
they just like took it all from her.
Yeah,
Well, and it
okay.
explains so much about the Cullens. Like to me, I was like, oh, this is like a peek in the box of like the other side of their lives that like you never get to see with Bella
Yeah, they
as
didn't
a high
explain like
schooler.
any of it.
Yeah, because that's how they've survived for so long, like getting all of these different IDs and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
and just skimmed right through it.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better if they just skipped it all together and she just got a random package in the mail with passports and IDs.
Yeah, they should have just left it at that.
Yeah, been done. We should have directed this film.
I agree.
The sex scenes and this would have been way better.
It would have been the whole movie, actually.
Okay, well, I feel like the bulk of the movie was this fight scene at the end, which was pretty epic. And I want to talk about, so this scene, I feel like had a lot of controversy around it when it first came out. Because I don't know about y'all, but I have a very particular memory of watching this movie for the first time in theaters. I think I watched it the day it came out. And I was watching, and I was starting to have like a panic attack. Like the moment that, Alice comes in,
pulls her hand away
and pulls her. So like she does she lets Arrow read her mind. And then she turns around and she says something like, even when you see, you still won't change your decision. And then like the fight scene breaks out and everyone starts dying. And it starts with Carlisle dying. I was like freaking out. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this is not how the book goes. Like, they're changing everything. And I was
in the book, they say that that's what Alice shows him, but they don't like, it doesn't play out in the book. They just say like Alice shows him like two alternate, like if this is what you choose, this is this ending. If this is what you choose, this is this other ending. But this scene was like straight out of Stephenie Meyer's brain.
It's crazy.
She did that whole scene.
She was on the screenplay. She was listed with Vanessa Rosenberg on this movie.
I will say that spinning back kick to Aro's chin from Alice. I couldn't do it better. I could not do it better. That was awesome. That was so cool. I was so mad when he landed on his feet the way that he did. I was like, no, he should have at least taken a tumble back.
Yeah. I mean, I think in like watching it now, I have a much different perspective. Like, I love it. Like, it's great. And it makes so much sense that
I think it was supposed to have that like gut punch of like, oh no, like, this is the end of everything. And then you find out that it was just her showing him, if you don't change your mind, this is what's going to happen. You're going to die. Your friends are going to die. A lot of the Cullens are going to die, but we are going to win. Yeah. So,
yeah. Yeah, the scene was, I thought it was like pretty well done. Some of the effects.
I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, I don't know about perfect.
That was aggressive, Liz.
I have very strong opinions. I loved everything about that scene. I thought it was magnificent.
Yes. I don't have too many complaints about that scene. Besides, no, nothing. I really liked that Ira, right? Irina, when she came forward after she had a look of terror on her face when she saw that her family was there. And then when she saw that Renesmee had grown, she stepped forward. They played that really well, where like it shows that Arrow had decided that he was going to kill people that day, and so that they just kill her. And it like, you think that the fight's gonna start then when her sisters start running towards them and they have to blind her and everything like that. Like, I thought that was really played out. I have a very specific favorite part of this fight scene, though.
Tell us.
Okay.
Tell us.
What is it?
The oldest Volturi, or the guy who looks the oldest, when they're like, about to kill him, and he just goes, finally. I've made
Let me out
so many times to like, and always inappropriate and not around a Twilight fan. It was always when like I was on the street again as a paramedic and a patient would be like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'd be like, finally.
That's amazing. I liked the other one, the blonde boy, how he was like so antsy the whole time too. Like, we need to kill them. Like, they're coming up with any excuse in the book.
And Arrow's like, trust me, boy, you don't want that. I've seen it, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it was cool. I was so like when I watched that and they killed Carlisle first, I was just like, no, that is not okay.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of unrealistic that he would like
that
go
would have
charging.
enraged the Cullens though. Like the reason that they did that is because that he is the patriarch of the Cullen
and brought all of those people together. Like,
yeah, exactly.
All of those people
every
were there
person there
Carlisle.
cared about him.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
that part was realistic. That like once he died, it like broke everyone out into fight. I feel like they could have done it a little bit differently because I feel like it was unrealistic that he would have charged them
like that and just forgotten that there was vampires standing to the side. That seemed a little dumb of him, as level-headed as a person he is. Almost a human. I do like
but
that
he's a
Leah Clearwater, she dies in that scene protecting
she like sacrifices
Esme.
herself.
That was cool. Not cool that she died, but cool that she did it protecting
showed
Esme.
her like badassness.
That you see
and
it was like right
series.
after they killed my favorite werewolf, her little brother. So
Seth.
yeah,
that was
a sweetie.
He was a sweetheart.
He's always kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's the little brother. Like
the wolves were awesome in this whole scene. Like the part where Sam comes in, I forget who he kills, but
Jane.
Like the big black. Yes, she kills Jane, or he kills Jane. Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was. That was super cool. And she did a great job of realizing that she was about to die in this
and
scene.
running.
Oh my god. Yeah, because like they mention in the books that like she's actually never been in a real fight. She's always been the person that's just like paralyzing people,
like the scare tactic.
Yeah. And so like when she realized that she didn't have her power anymore, she was just like, and she just starts running frantically. It was so good. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved that too. How do we feel about the ditch? Like the I don't know what to call it. Like the ditch that Benjamin makes.
The chasm.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
There's like lava at the bottom. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Broke it down to the core.
And then the core of the earth.
We knew he was going to be important later.
And then Edward like falls down the ditch, and like
but then like blasts up like he's a superhero.
That's literally his stance. As he comes out, he punches through a rock and he just Supermans through and kills that guy.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot one of my funny parts. Before everything happens, when Alice just walks in and they're holding Jasper there, the guy who Edward kills, Supermaning out of the lava-filled earth.
One that's
he slaps Jasper. That was so funny, right there.
You're like, what reason? And Jasper's just like, you asshole.
He just like takes it. All right, you're gonna die later.
I feel like you probably like that as a Team Jasper fan.
Yeah, I did like it. I liked it so much.
Okay, so I think we agree. We love the scene. Alice coming in was a fun surprise too, and she brought her friends from the Amazon who I forget the guy's name, but the one who's like the same as Renesmee. He's a half vampire, half human. He's pretty cool. We like him.
He was cool. He was a little over CGI'd too, I think. Or like maybe not CGI, but like there was a lot of
done up,
not realness on him. Like
they should have just had like a normal guy from
just a random guy in a loincloth. Just walking through the snow.
Tarzan vibes.
Yeah, Tarzan.
Yeah. I feel like he would have been a good match for
serious.
Renesmee too. That's what I was thinking. I was
He
like,
would have
oh,
been
Jacob, you've got
Except he's like
competition.
115 and she's 2 months old.
Okay, well, same thing with Jacob. Same thing with Edward and Bella.
Yeah.
It's all the same. We got
Yeah.
some weird age gaps going on.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't think, like, if Stephanie Meyer had to write the book in 2023, she would have had to do something about the grooming situation that's
Yes.
going on there.
Yes.
That imprinting would have had to hold off for a little bit.
How do we feel? Are we good if I move away from the fight scene?
Yeah.
So how do we feel about the little like zoom forward when it's like Bella and Edward and then Renesmee and Jacob like walking away?
Like on the beach?
Yeah.
I think
Alice's
that's
little
like
thing.
meant to
Yeah.
show Edward is the only one that can see it, and I think it's meant
Yeah.
to show him that like your family has a future.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Cringe.
I could have
would've-
done without it, but
I would have liked I Harry Potter's part 2 if they're gonna do anything like where they're just like fast forward 100 years and look, everybody looks the same
Yeah.
and is an adult who can consent now. Like,
Yeah.
Edward, calm down.
he said I agree.
Yeah, he's like that
excited.
grooming's weird shit.
He's excited to be 2 forever.
Yes.
Okay, and then one scene that I thought was really important, and I think they did pretty well, is the meadow scene at the end. And so in this scene,
Yes.
Bella she manages to like remove her shield completely and let Edward read her mind for a second. And then you get like a flood back of all the way from movie 1 through to where we are now. And I liked how that was done in the movie because I feel like it kind of like recalled through the whole series, and they had like some fun music, and you saw Kristen Stewart grow as a actress a little bit in rapid
I thought that
time.
was really cool scene. I actually
Mhm.
liked it. It hit me in my feels quite a bit. So it
Mhm.
also helps that they were playing 1,000 Years like right afterwards. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that scene was really well thought out, and they did it in the book too, and it really captured what they did in the book. So
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I like that they ended with it because I think in the book that was something that they did sooner.
I
don't
think it was
think
right
it
at the
was-
end in the book.
It was at the end. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
at the end.
Yeah.
Well, it works at the end, so.
So good job.
Yeah.
You know what I really, really liked is when they pulled up the book and they like flipped to the last page, and then they showed the last line of the book.
last line. Yeah, that was
and I thought that
real
was cool because Liz, you've pointed out, but they've like all the narration that Bella's been doing throughout the series has been like actual lines from the book. And so they've been pulling directly quotes from the book. And I thought that was a really neat way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was
Paying homage
liked it.
to the fact that it was a book first.
Mm-hmm. And then
I do have one thing to say about that scene.
Okay.
And this was not the first time I noticed that she did this, but this was like the closest up kissing wise.
Okay.
Kristen Stewart looks like she's probably a really bad kisser.
Yeah, I agree. And a terrible person,
Well.
but yeah.
Just like seeing close up, like Robert Pattinson's like in it, and he's like, and she kind of looks like she's not.
This may be her.
She's about to come out.
The breakup.
This may be the fact that she's dealing with the fact she's a lesbian, but you're also an actress, so act.
Do your job.
I promise you, I'm as gay as it gets. If you give me 7 figures, you won't know. I'm like, where are the girls at? Where are they at? I love women.
Yeah, I think we've established that Kristen Stewart is like a bad actress, and Yeah, this is a shining moment when she literally can't even make it look like she's enjoying kissing her literal boyfriend.
Yeah. Like,
Yeesh.
God. Yeah. Poor Robert. Poor Robert. And I have to tell you guys that the reason I don't like her so much is just because, like, I don't like cheating. And I know that everyone has their own thing, but now when someone brings up that she cheated on Robert to get that awful role in that other movie, she just goes, "Well, I'm a lesbian now." That is not an excuse. Okay, being in the closet is not an
Yeah.
excuse. Do not
To
use
cheat on
sexual
somebody.
orientation just to be like, "Oh, I did." Just be like, "Yeah, I was young, stupid, and I live in this world where if you don't sleep with people, you might not get a part. So I did a thing." I think Grace and Frankie, that Netflix show, pointed it out, and I think like they were having dinner with their gay dads for the first time, and they're like they had just told them that they'd been cheating on their moms for forever, and they just have this conversation about how, well, if they had been cheating on them with other women, we would be upset and not having dinner with them right now. So why are we
Yeah.
having dinner? Like, don't use anything as an excuse. Like, just, oh God, Kristen Stewart.
Okay, well, we wrap up this series with a nice little credits at the end where we go through all the different vampires, and then we end with like all the main characters from the series. And I think
11 whole minutes of end credits.
what is with you and timing the credits, girly?
Why
It
do
was
we need
good.
11
I
minutes of
liked it.
credits?
I liked it. I watched it
I
all.
liked it, and it gave me nostalgia back to when I used to watch soap operas with my grandmother, because it definitely has like As the World Turned vibes, where like it gave their pictures and their names with
That's
this
so
dramatic
silly.
background music. But they also did give credit to all of the past actresses and actors too that were in like the first 4 movies that maybe didn't even
Yes.
appear in this one. So that was cool. That was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I liked
But
that a
very
lot.
As the World Turns.
Yeah. I feel like this movie was very catered to the watcher at the theater. You know, like some of the comedy that was in it, like the intro and outro credits, like
It only works once.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the rewatch, that's for sure, but definitely designed for that premiere type vibe.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So that wraps up everything. I don't know if there's anything that we missed, because we kind of like jumped around a lot.
We talked about a lot of things.
We talked
I
about a
think
lot.
all of us are going to get diagnosed with ADD after this.
That's okay. But sounds like we've mostly covered everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to do the ratings. So,
Okay.
David, we want your rating first. And just as a reminder, we use Letterboxd rating scale, which is just 0 to 5 stars and half-star increments.
Okay. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
Because I would say it would get probably more if there wasn't such bad CGI with Renesmee and like the big holes that they created from the book to the movie. But it does have some really awesome stuff to it that we already covered. So 3.5. If it was Emma Watson instead of Kristen Stewart, 4.5.
That probably would have made it a 5 in my book, TBH.
Yeah.
I could have overlooked some poor CGI for that.
Yeah. Eclipse 5.
Really? So that's your favorite one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there's only one like thing that makes me cringe in Eclipse, and that's when they dubbed over, like, she screams Jacob's name one time at the beginning, and they definitely just like grabbed that sound piece and did it again, and both times are awful. So but that's it. That's my only complaint about that movie.
Her screaming is awful.
It's
awful.
so bad.
she
It's the
tries
worst
to
part about
like,
these movies.
yeah, just it's okay to be a little like have a little bit more of a feminine scream.
Yeah,
Like,
be girly.
yeah,
But
it's
just
okay. It's
like, come
okay.
on.
Surprised they
Or
didn't tell her.
Or they should have hired somebody to scream for her if she couldn't figure out how to scream.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Use a voice actress. Come on.
But again, if you're getting 7 figures, act.
No.
Take some voice lessons.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not her strong suit. Okay, Liz, what is your rating?
I gave this 5 stars.
Oh my god.
That shouldn't be surprising. I think I've given almost all of them 5 stars at this point.
Yes.
So
You're
Yes.
such a good person.
I know.
I love them. I'm actually like I can be a pretty tough critic if it's something I really don't like. But these movies, I could just watch them over and over and over again. Cannot recommend them enough to people that haven't seen them. You need to watch them all. You can't just watch one.
Yeah, don't cherry pick.
Yeah, I thought they were fabulous. There is some production quality questions that I would have. But I still think they
Still
were
5
great.
stars.
Loved it. Loved it. Every second. Wouldn't change it for anything.
That's lovely. I
Kind.
really struggled to rate this movie. The Renesmee CGI,
Courtney's gonna be mean.
the
Just
it
tell
just
us.
it was just really bad. Like it just distracted me a lot throughout the movie, and I really struggled with Bella as a vampire. Like I thought it was bad. So I gave this movie 2 stars.
That's bad, Courtney.
Wow.
I know.
Damn. It's like you work for Rotten Tomatoes.
Courtney is a Rotten Tomato, okay? 2 stars.
We spent this entire time shitting on Kristen Stewart as a vampire, and you can't expect me to sit there and watch 2 hours of her being a vampire and not dislike it.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I enjoy Twilight as a whole. I was obsessed with these books, clearly. I think this one grinded my gears a lot more than some of the others in terms of like some of the changes they made. So, and also like not capturing like the feelings that I had when I read the book. I think it was too cheesy for me almost. So, I feel like I'm getting hateful stares. Okay.
Never
you
hate.
just broke my heart a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah,
I still love you.
I'm not. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Okay, well, on that note, I think that wraps up our discussion of the entire Twilight series, Twilight Saga.
I can't believe it's over. That's so sad.
I know. But
they're
David,
gonna do a remake.
David's calling it. You heard it here first.
They will. David, you were the perfect person to wrap up this saga with us. We loved having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
This has
Seriously,
been fun.
thank you
My
so
face
much.
hurts from smiling so much.
Oh, good. We love that. We love pain.
Okay.
This segues into our new podcast.
All about Dakota Fanning. That's what we were going for with that. Okay.
Yeah, that's the conclusion I was drawing.
All right. Well, we're going to say bye. Bye, David. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye, y'all.
Okay. Well, that wraps up our podcast for today. So if you are interested in finding us, you can find us on socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at bcriticspodcast.
Yes, and thank you so much for checking us out. Be sure to go and watch all the other Twilight episodes if you haven't already. We'd appreciate it if you could leave us a rating or a review. And if you're loving what we're doing, be sure to subscribe and follow. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
and check out our website, bcritic's.com, or find all of these links on our Linktree in the episode show notes.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Bye, guys.